Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Searles and this is my week 2 discussion post on the California State Budget for MPA 530, Public Finance and Budgeting. In this post, I will discuss briefly on the two priority areas that the Governor of California has decided to focus on in the current budget, the revisions made in the May revised budget, as well as how the priorities changed again as a result of the approved state budget. The budget information that I will discuss will come from the expenditure proposals, which contain the general fund, special funds, and selected foreign funds, not including federal funds, other non-governmental cost funds, nor reimbursements. From the proposed budget allocation from January, the two major priorities that the governor wanted to focus on is health and human services as well as education. Based on the budget, the governor has proposed an allocation of $93 billion on health and human services. Some of the allocations in this department will go towards bolstering the state's robust responses to COVID-19. And in fact, when reading his speech on the budget, he planned to spend an additional $2.7 billion to ramp up vaccines, boosters, statewide testing, and increase medical personnel to meet potential surges. Other monies were planned to go towards tackling homelessness, with over $2 billion being deployed for mental health housing and services and clearing encampments. Other than health and human services, he had also planned to invest a significant amount, totaling to over $72 billion in K-12 education. In this case, the governor has an ambitious plan to invest more in education by doubling down on achieving free universal pre-K, adding thousands of childcare slots, and increasing access to school programs. The May revise maintained the two, health and human services and K-12 education, as priority areas. Based on the figures, we see an increase in 7 to 8 billion for the two areas. This increase is more than 3 times the additional increment compared to other departments. This shows that the governor's commitments in pursuing his blueprints and bolstering both education, health, and human services. Some of the addition in the May revise, for example, in K-12 education, was channeled towards school districts that were facing staff shortages and inflationary costs. The deal would produce a $9 billion boost to the local control funding formula. I believe that school districts will be happy with this proposal and hopefully solve the chronic absences and staff shortages experienced this year, partly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The final approved budget for K-12 education in California for the financial year 22-23, coming from the general fund, was $78.6 billion. Such a high budget allocation in K-12 education could also be attributed to Proposition 98, which is a voter-approved constitutional amendment that guarantees minimum funding levels for K-12 schools and community colleges. The proposition will see the funding level of the guarantee equal to approximately 38.03% of general fund revenues, plus local property tax revenues. In health, a total of $68 billion was approved from the general fund, which is lower than the January projection as well as the May revise. That concludes my week 2 discussion post. I hope you found this information educative and would be eager to get your responses as well. Thank you and have a blessed weekend.